Instant Replay is your local sports bar. With 18 big screen TVs, we have all the sports packages from college games to pro games. We offer daily drink specials, and come check out the Bullpen, our newly renovated beer garden. Instant Replay, 2739 Chestnut in Quincy.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Daily Muddy. I'm Ashley Conrad. Joining me today, Ryan Roberts with the YWCA. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Of course, always great speaking with you, and today is no different. We are here to talk about a fun event.
Yes.
It is called A Voice for All Women in Sync.
Correct.
Yeah, so A Voice for All Women, of course, reflects the goal of the YWCA.
Correct, yes.
And
female empowerment.
Sure.
And eliminating racism are two of our national organization's big goals, which we do try to implement into our work here in Quincy as well.
Sure. So the initiatives, of course, the events reflect those initiatives, and the lip syncing contest, right,
Yes.
is a fun way to share the mission and the vision of the YWCA. You have some contestants lined up, right?
Yes.
But not all.
Well, we currently have 6 contestants. Our max would be 12, which I don't think we've ever done our max every year.
Okay.
But if anybody is interested, they can get a hold of the YWCA or one of our board members that they know and let us know that they'd like to participate.
Yeah, so you don't technically have to have a whole lot of talent other than you got to be able to get up there and put on a show.
Yeah, and you can do any song you want, so it could be from any genre, any decade.
Yeah.
So it can be something, your favorite song, and you could perform it the way you do, when you're in your bedroom with a hairbrush or something like that.
Heck yeah.
And the crowd would love it.
Yes. So for contestants in the past, so you actually do have a winner, is that right?
Yes, we do have a winner
Okay.
every year, and I believe our winner last year was Chief Yates, and he will be doing he'll be doing an encore performance this year as well.
That's
so.
outstanding. That's
Yeah,
outstanding.
So it's a good event.
Yeah, it is. So the event is when?
October 25th.
Okay.
The doors will open at 5:30. And the program will start at 6. Part of this lip sync event, we also do honor 3 women from the Quincy area, and they are the Women of Achievement Award, the Phoenix Award, and then we also do a Future Woman of Achievement Scholarship.
Okay.
And it is actually $1,000 for senior or a student in high school, female. And all of the instructions for that can be found on our website, which is ywcaquincy.org.
Okay. So now for that night, what can people expect when they go? Because it's a fun night, but I don't know if people understand the magnitude of how fun.
Okay. So when you get there, we do have a photo booth. The photo booth we used last year, we'll be using again this year. And it will actually send the photos directly to your phone.
Okay.
So you'll have those. Once you enter, we do have a cash bar every year. And there will be a fully catered dinner.
Okay.
We will do the awards and those things towards the beginning, I believe. And then the lip sync competition will start. And throughout that, we will have what do you call them? The MC.
Yeah.
We'll have an MC throughout the entire event.
Which
who will
always
probably be joking around.
Yeah,
and
they add to the
doing
night.
crazy things as well. So
For sure.
it's just a really fun night. Last year was my first year. I actually started less than a week before the event. And they had me up on stage that night.
Yeah,
and
I was going to say,
the TV interviews.
Do you lip sync?
So
not on stage?
Well, the staff actually may end up doing something this year. We're not sure.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about that this week.
Fun.
But so I've never lip synced.
No.
I do sing a lot, like in church and different things like that. But.
Yeah, I think lip syncing is great because you don't have to have a great voice.
You don't have to know the
I
song.
do not.
And even if you miss the words a few times,
Just
most
keep
people
going.
aren't going to notice
They don't
as long
know.
as your mouth is moving.
Yeah, and as long as you're up there putting on a show, dancing and carrying on, I think it's going to be entertaining. I have no doubt that the contestants are going to be awesome. Do we name the contestants or you keep those a secret?
We will be naming them this week.
Okay.
There going to be some ads and stuff coming out on our Facebook page and things like that. There's also going to be a commercial that is, I believe they're finishing up developing it, but it's going to be going out So we will be making some announcements on social
Some
media
teasers.
and different things like that.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
Heck yeah. So make sure you're following the YWCA's Facebook page. Is it an actual lip sync? Is it the Voice for All Women Facebook page, or is it the YWCA?
So there is an event page, and then there's the YWCA page.
Okay.
So we will be actually posting the announcements to the YWCA page, but I'll probably carry
feed them over
to
there.
the other,
for sure. So the nominees for the Women Achievement Award, the women, I forget all the different awards, but so have you already chosen?
We have not chosen.
Okay.
We will be, shutting everything off by October 14th.
Okay.
So if anybody is wanting to get a nomination to us, please do send those in. The more the committee has to spend going through that, but we love doing that. And a lot of times, I think we find sometimes we get duplicates and triplicates sometimes, but that's even good information to know too.
Sure, that they're that someone's not alone in their thought that this person deserves the recognition. That's awesome. I love that you do this. I love that you turn it into a fun event. So the event is October 25th at the Oakley Lindsay Center. What time do doors open?
5:30.
5:30.
Yes.
Okay. And if I want to get a ticket, but I'm not sure if I'm free that weekend, can I wait till day of, or do I need to get them ahead of time?
I believe we are going to have some available the day of.
Okay.
It would be better to get them ahead of time. They do go up from $65 to $75. I can't remember the exact date when they do that, but it's middle of October. We'll put some more details out about all that on our Facebook page.
Do you have tables available, or is it just individual
tickets? We do have tables
Okay.
available. You can buy an entire table. And we also do have some corporate sponsorships and stuff still available for the event as well. So.
Excellent. Yeah. So if you are looking to be a lip sync contestant, a nominee for an award, or a sponsor, or just an attendee, reach out to Ryan and the YWCA crew, or follow them on social to get more information. It's always a fun event, sure to be a great night to remember, and it's for a great cause. Support the YWCA of our community, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Ryan. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, coming up next, Bob Gough and I sit down to talk about Quincy and what's going on. Stay tuned.
Kelly's has been a fun place to eat and drink in Quincy since 1982. A fun and friendly atmosphere, food with flavor, homemade cinnamon rolls, and famous cheese soup, the best menu in town. Kelly's, 2902 Broadway, Quincy.
Are you looking for the perfect venue for your next special event? Check out Utopia Event Center.
Utopia has a large banquet room and an awesome bar area, perfect for anything from birthday parties to formal corporate meetings. It also offers a photo booth, stage for a DJ or a live band, and a fully stocked bar, all for only $300. Check us out at utopiaeventcenter.com or call Barn at 217-430-6559 for more information. Utopia Event Center, 900 North 12th Street in Quincy.
Instant Replay is your local sports bar. With 18 big screen TVs, we have all the sports packages from college games to pro games. We offer daily drink specials, and come check out the Bullpen, our newly renovated beer garden. Instant Replay, 2739 Chestnut in Quincy.
The Liquor Booth is your home for a huge selection of beer, wine, and spirits. The Liquor Booth has 2 locations in Quincy, 3520 Broadway and 1500 North 12th Street. The Liquor Booth, where it's always happy hour.
Welcome to the Abbey, a Quincy tradition. With 6 big screens, a new larger kitchen, and now more seating capacity, the Abbey is the place to be before, during, and after the big game. Come enjoy fan favorite appetizers, steaks, burgers, and a variety of daily food and drink specials. Can't join us? Carryout is available too. Now with a convenient drive-up window to better serve you. 1736 Spring in Quincy. Opens at 3 p.m. Tuesday through Sunday. Come join all your friends at the Abbey, a Quincy tradition.
The Tower, a great place to meet and eat. But did you know the Tower has one of the finest drink selections in our area? Along with its incredible Mexican menu, the Tower specializes in tequilas for every taste. Names like Patron, Cabo Wabo, and Hornitos. And don't forget the margaritas. On Mondays and Tuesdays, stop by and pick up a single topping pizza and get Tower margaritas to go. Enjoy the Tower at home or in our dining room, bar area, or the Tower's signature climate-controlled porch. The Tower Pizza and Mexican in Quincy.
And welcome back. Joining me now, my pal, Bob Gough. What's up?
Hi, how are you?
Fantastic. It's been so long since we've done this. I'm really looking forward to it.
Good.
Yeah. Not really looking forward to the topic at hand, I think, but it's really important to talk about, and there's so much to unpack. I jotted down some notes because I never do that either.
No.
Because I think it's really important for us to cover kind of all sides of it, because there
Agreed.
are so many sides to this thing.
Yes, many layers.
Many layers.
Like
so
an
let's
onion.
right.
Like an
let's
onion.
peel this onion. All right. So what we're talking about is Pride in the Park, and the response to it. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm curious to get your opinion, but I think from my opinion, I kind of stand by the live and let live philosophy, right?
Yes.
That doesn't mean I agree with either or both sides. That means that I, at home, I try to teach tolerance, I teach acceptance, but I also teach critical thinking skills so that my children can decide for themselves what is right and what to pass on to their children and their children. So it's generational critical thinking and doing what you think is right for you and your family, right?
Yes.
Okay. I also think that the two groups that are in question here, let's say MAGA, okay, and the trans community,
Pride,
or the
trans,
Pride,
whatever you wanna call it,
LGBTQ. I'm going to miss some letters, and that's
Right.
not intentional.
Right.
That's not out of disrespect. That's just because I don't know them all, and I'm not as closely related to that group as whatever. So they're both, in my opinion, kind of the smaller groups, the more extreme groups on either side. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. I know that the MAGA group is more on the extreme side. I don't know if that's
Well, I think it depends.
pinning them into
I think it just depends. I mean, there are aspects of the whole Pride in the Park and the whole movement that we've had locally involved, and most of that has concerns with how children are being exposed to it.
Yeah.
And again, it's the
How it's being
parents
promoted to
to
children,
them.
yeah.
Yes, I don't mean exposed in that way.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you've got, if you're a parent and you want your kids, you're trying to teach your kids whatever you're trying to teach your kids. It's your prerogative as a parent. But again, as a parent, I just wouldn't expose my kids to drag shows
Sure.
at a young age.
Yeah.
I just don't feel that's right. And
Right.
that's my preference. But again, if you're going to do that with your kid, I'm not going to tell you how to parent.
Yeah.
But in that same regard, you have every right in the world to have your event and have your event peacefully and not have people disturb your event.
Right.
I believe that should be the case. Then again, we are in a world where everybody wants to show up and protest everybody else's stuff and get involved in everybody else's business. So we had the situation where we had the supporters of presidential candidate and former President Trump have their
Trump
parade,
train.
rally, Trump train. And they've done this in the past. But this one was scheduled on Sunday, and it was not a coincidence. I don't believe it was a coincidence that it was scheduled on Sunday. I believe they did this directly to try to confront the Pride in the Park people, and then proceed to drive around town as they've always done, which is fine. And again, great. Your prerogative, you want to support
they
your
have a
guy,
right.
great. But then to drive by and just constantly lay on the horns while the other group is having its, performances, sessions, whatever, that was a bit uncalled for, I think.
There's a difference. So we can talk about what's right and what's considerate. I think everyone has a right. I think the Pride in the Park, they have a right. I'm not sending my kids. That's my prerogative. That's my right. The Trump train has every right to drive around Quincy. I do think it's kind of annoying, but I love that we live in a country that both sides can do what they want and for the most part do it respectfully. I think there is a lot of intolerance on both sides, and I do think that it's kind of both sides kind of want the same thing, and I think they're more in common than they would probably like to admit, which is freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom to be who you are, freedom to teach your children what you want to teach them. I think the biggest problem with, that certain groups have with the Pride in the Park is indoctrination. I also think that indoctrination. These groups are going to grow whether we like it or not, probably. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's what we teach at home that I think is most important. And it's also to realize that you do have a right to send your children to school if you think they're being indoctrinated. If you don't think they're being indoctrinated, send them to public school. If you think they are, keep them home. Or
homeschool or send to a private school.
There are all kinds of rights. Do I agree with corporate sponsorships of things that have political undertones? No, I do not. I've said that before. However, that being said, the DEI initiative that Blessing and QMG uphold is more of a value than, let's say, the equal opportunity. That is a law, right? So it is their value. They have a right to support these things. Do I agree with it? Nope, not at all. It alienates a lot of their customer base. But at the same time, it is their right, just as it's my right to choose to go to those providers.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
That being said, the trans movement, I just think it's very... I want to choose my words carefully here, because the whole undertone of it is they want people to accept and they want people to love. I don't understand promoting body dysmorphia, which is what it is. It is a mental health disorder. Body dysmorphia is not being happy with your physical body, so you want to change it. And that is, I think, kind of part of the trans movement, is not feeling comfortable with what your outward body, it's not reflecting your inward, who you are inwardly. So I think promoting body dysmorphia to children is probably not the best thing when we can, in fact, promote self-love and self-acceptance. So I have a hard time tracking, the trans movement. It seems like there could be a better way to promote.
Again, whatever issues you're having with yourself, again, that is between you and yourself and your God or your Buddha or whatever. And if you want to seek professional help, that's great. But again, to sit there, especially at such a young age, for people to consider these kind of radical decisions, that 10 years down the road, they're going to go, boy, what was I thinking? I mean, this isn't a tattoo for anything in a lot of these cases. This is something far more severe. So I think that needs to be fully explored, fully vetted, and make sure that, parents make the right decisions for their kids. And again, I don't want to tell anybody how to parent, but again, please think of any of the long-term ramifications for your kids in this situation.
Well, and I think Pride in the Park was, and I, again, could be completely off base here, but I think it's to teach acceptance. I think it's to say...
Which is fine.
We are who we are, which, again, that's something I teach at home. Everybody is going through something, whether it's, figuring out who they are. Everybody's going through that. So just be tolerant, be accepting. That doesn't mean that you have to accept what any group is yelling about or promoting. Or that's where critical thinking and decision-making comes into play. And I really think it's interesting that these, I don't want to call them smaller issues, but so MAGA, the extremist on that side, let's say, trans or the Pride movement on this side may be kind of extreme to relate it all to, liberal, right? I mean, I don't know. But anyway, I think it is distracting to kind of some bigger issues at hand, because if you look at the demographics of suicide, which I think is what Pride in the Park is trying to overcome, right? MAGA, the similarities are glaring. So in MAGA, the overlap between rural middle-aged men and suicide is insane there too. So if we're talking about the similarities and the overlaps, the glaring issues are not being trans, and it's not being MAGA. It's mental health, drug use, economic stressors. So I always tend to ask myself, are we getting distracted by side effects of these bigger issues? I think the answer is yes.
Right. And again, I think, but also in that thing, it's like if you let, somebody wants to have their event, have your event, But again, to just have this concentrated effort to disrupt that event, I just don't think that's appropriate.
It goes both ways.
And again,
let's be honest.
It does.
It does.
But if you don't, I mean, again, the right to protest is the right to protest, but it's peacefully protest, and it's not disruptive. It's like if you want to, again, and that's one thing that a lot of, back when the Tea Party first started, and yes, the two sides are like this, so don't come at me that they're not, because they are. But when it was like, we're going to peacefully protest and we're going to say what we have, and they've been very good about that normally. And again, to just drive by, horns blaring, flags waving in a form and a way to try to intimidate people, and I just didn't think that was very cool. I'm sorry.
It may not be cool, but whether you're either intimidated, I don't think you can really be intimidated. I think if you are that strong in your belief that you're having an event in a park, the MAGA train should not affect you. It just really shouldn't.
Not unless they're just laying constantly on their horns.
Yeah, it happens. I've seen parades, with that are not quiet either.
Right.
So both sides are loud on purpose.
But I don't even think they had a permit for a parade, which is a whole nother issue.
Yeah.
Perhaps they should have. Did they get any proper documentation to go have a parade? No. Doubt it.
I don't know. I guess that's.
But again, I assume the Pride people did what they had to do, because I think it went before the city council, and they would have had to pay the fee to the park district. And again, some people might not like the fact that they had in the park district, but if the park district would try to say no and discriminate, guess what the park district's going to do? They're going to get a big old fat lawsuit, and they're going to lose. So people, If the Pride people want to do it, we have Freedom Fest every year, we have whatever, but if you want to have whatever your organization is, unless you're being violent and what have you, and again, if you want to talk about hate speech, if the Illinois Nazi Party wanted to have a gathering down there, I think they got to let them.
Yeah.
And that's not cool.
Well,
but
I think
that's our country.
That's the freedoms, and that's what I'm saying. There's more overlap than I think anyone wants to admit. Everybody just wants to be who they are. I think the big problem MAGA has is indoctrination, which I do understand, but it's also the thing that I think everybody needs to understand is those conversations should be had at home. And, if you don't like the way the schools are doing things, or you don't like the way that, communities are doing things, you do have the right to change those things for yourself and for your family. But I do not think under the, I would be a hypocrite if I didn't say, you do have to be tolerant, because it works both ways. Yeah. If you want to take a parade and go around the Pride Fest honking, and that is your right, that's your prerogative, God bless America. But expect that same treatment because everybody wants to have their voice heard.
Yeah.
And I think that's just the beauty of living in the United States of America. I also think it's a curse because everybody has a platform anymore, and the divide is what is crumbling this nation. So, I think if we could all just realize that we don't have to be loud and proud, we don't have to be boisterous, and we don't have to have everyone agree with us to live life peacefully.
And we don't have to just shove it in somebody's face without them wanting it.
It absolutely does the opposite.
Yeah.
It absolutely does the opposite. It makes people question why you're doing things, your motives on both ends. So, I'm not saying I have the answers, but I do think that there are bigger things at play here. And unfortunately, some of these things tend to distract us from what we really need to be focusing on, which, mental health, tolerance, loving one another, being united. Those are the big things I think we should focus on. And until we get that right, we're all going to be divided and struggle,
Amen.
Right?
Amen, sister.
Right?
Yep.
So I know I kind of talked in circles, but I do think that everybody has a right to be who they are. But that doesn't mean you're going to be who you are without people judging you, because it just is the way of the world.
Yeah.
So we either have to deal with that and be okay in our own skin, or do what we will to get there. So on that note, I think that kind of does it, right?
Yep.
Did I talk too much?
Nope.
Okay, good. All right. Well, thanks for joining me
Sure.
while I vented on my
good.
soapbox.
All
Okay.
good.
All right. I think that does it for today. We'll catch you back here tomorrow for Coffee Talk. See you then.